Because your mark was present here.
Second terms, could you confirm that everybody is settled? If we are all settled, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Senate, to the Public Accounts Committee. We started our meeting a bit earlier with a brief from the Office of the Auditor General, the EACC, and the Parliamentary Budget Office. We are now at the point where we are ready to consider the report of the Auditor General on Nandi County Executive for the financial years ended 30th June 2021 and 30th June 2022, as well as the report of the Auditor General on the receipt of revenue statements for the year ended 30th June 2022. We usually pray when the clients are before us. I'd like the Senator for Nandi to put us in the mood with a word of prayer.
Thank you, Chair. Let us pray. Almighty God, we beseech you to behold us with your abundant favor and blessings as your servants who have been pleased to call to leadership positions in this department. We seek guidance to treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests we have committed to our charge. Amen.
Thank you, Senator Chiratke. We will do a quick round of introductions of members of Senate present, starting from Senator Lee.
Good morning, everyone. Senator Maria Omar, member of the committee.
Good morning, Chair. For this is my name, Senator of the great people of Nandi and also the Vice Chairperson of Senate Public Accounts Committee.
Thank you very much, Control of budget?
Chairman, we have apologies from the CEO.
Okay. Did we invite the County Assembly of Nandi Public Accounts Committee?
Yes, Chair, we did. I got word yesterday evening from the clerk of the Assembly indicating that they are unable to send the Park Committee of the Assembly.
Okay, it was not mandatory, but it was nice for them to be here so that we can have concurrence on some of the resolutions. Let's go to the County Executive of Nandi. Governor Nandi, please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Chair, Senators and the Senate Committee. My name is Stephen Sang, Governor Nandi, and I'm here with my team. Allow me, Chair, that I ask them to introduce themselves.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Hilary Serem, the CC Member for Finance and Economic Planning.
And please Kamwige, CEO Finance Economic Planning, Nandi.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Jafet Irop, Head of Supply Chain.
I'm Francis Sang, the County Secretary.
Kibet Changamit, Accountant. Matthew Hop, Accountant. Zawak, Accountant.
Festus Nelly, Accountant.
Clay Alfred, Accountant. Francis Kipta, Administrator.
Sharon Kichur, Director Liaison.
Does that wind up the team from Nandi Executive? Yes, okay. We then, members, we did not do the adoption of agenda. Our agenda today is as per the document before us. We've already done the brief, and now we are on agenda number 5 and 6. Could I get a proposal?
Honorable Chairman, I propose.
Thank you, Senator Metu.
Chairman, I second.
Thank you, Senator Maria Mumar. The next order is administration of oath, which will be followed by tabling of documents. Clerk of the Senate, guide the governor.
I, Stephen Sang, do solemnly swear that the evidence I shall give before the committee in the respect of matters before the committee shall be the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Next will be your tabling of your management responses and supporting annexures. Let's start with the financial year 2020-2021.
Mr. Chairman, sir, I hereby table the following documents before the committee. Management responses and accompanying annexures for the County Executive of Nandi for the financial year 2020-2021.
Okay, clerk, 2020-2021, which are the supporting annexures? Is it the smaller file?
Yes.
Then, next, for the financial year 2021-2022.
Mr. Chairman, sir, I hereby table the following documents before this committee. The management responses and accompanying annexures for the County Executive Committee for Nandi for the financial year 2021-2022.
Okay, is this the bigger document? Then we go to the receipt of revenue report for financial year 2021-2022.
Mr. Chairman, sir, I wish to make a request that we were not able to finalize on this. We request that the Senate, the committee allows us to do this in within 7 days. We were not able to compile all the documentation for this year. Our apologies.
Okay, first of all, let's first deal with what is properly filed. Auditor General, 2020-2021, have you been able to review the responses?
Chair, we've reviewed the responses for 2020-2021.
2021-2022?
We've also reviewed the responses for 2021-2022.
But in 2021-2022, we started the practice of preparing separate receipt of revenue statements. what was your opinion on the receipt of revenue statements for that financial year?
Chair, our opinion was an adverse opinion for that particular year.
And adverse, it basically means in plain English that you cannot tell whether money was stolen or not. And on the balance of probability, money was stolen. That is what an adverse opinion is. Yes, so Governor, is there a reason why we don't have responses on that adverse opinion? Because I think it's the reason why you are here before many of the other governors. We say you are dealing with adverse opinion because that's where there's a smoking gun. An adverse opinion is a smoking gun. Is that, what would be the reason why you are able to deal with others' qualified opinions but not this smoking gun of the receipt of revenue statements?
Chair, as indicated, that was an adverse opinion, and in dealing with them, the documentation were a bit bulky, and we were not able to put all the documentations in good times. Chair.
You see, the thing is, if it was adverse at the time of audit, you've been given an opportunity to come before the Senate to explain why it was adverse. You still have not taken that opportunity. Where else are you going to get the records? Because this is not expenditure, this is revenue. Actually, this should be the easiest thing to explain. It's a money you are collecting. It's not even expenditure. Expenditure has got longer schedules. Revenue is much, much easier. So even if you are to ask for 7 days, are you going to manufacture those documents in Nandi?
No, Chair, we will not manufacture, we just put together the documentation.
Now, honorable members, I think we must make a decision. Previously, when a county has come with half a job done, we have told them to go back home and get the full job done. In this case, the financial year 2020-2021 is done, but financial year 2021-2022 cannot be done without the report of the receiver of revenue. Let me get your views before we give direction. Senator Meth.
Honorable Chair, it would have been prudent use of the resources for the team that has come from Nandi if you are able to look at the 2 financial years. I was looking at the time, Honorable Chair, it's now 11:30, and I think so that we are effective and for the convenience of the us as a committee, and so that we are able to do a very thorough job in the financial year 2021-2022, whose work is halfway done. I think I would propose that we allow the governor the 7 days that he has sought for, so that he can be able to put his house in order. But in the meantime, we look at, I know this is not what we do every time. If you have invited you to, and Governor Sang has been a senator, you know, you've been invited to deal with the 2 financial years. The appropriate thing is that we either do the 2 financial years or we don't do. But Honorable Chair, I feel that we could do justice to this particular assembly, to this particular executive and the program if you are to deal with the 2020-2021 financial year today, and then allow the governor to put his house in order for 7 days. I agree with you. The receiver of revenue statement is not something that should require a lot of time, because not much is required to be put together, so that we can then give them a fresh day to deal with the financial year 2021-2022.
Senator Cheraki.
Chair, I think on the issue of lack of receiver of revenue in the subsequent financial year, I think since it is half, we should not proceed with that financial year, but we proceed with the financial year 2020, the year under financial review, so that this work cannot be an escape for the governor not to account, because if we give a ruling where we cannot proceed, many governors, including my governor, will always find a perfect excuse to escape from accountability. Number 2, this receiver of revenue is one of the easiest things to do. McHugh governor is serving the 2nd term. If it was, and you need to make a ruling, Chair, Because if it was a first-term government, you would be saying they are still grappling with how things should be done. But having serving his second term, these should have been issues that should have been handled as appropriately as it should be, Chair, with ease and convenience. But now, to ensure that we prudent use of time and resources, I don't have a problem if we proceed with 2020-2021. But of course, the issue is, where was this documentation? Because it is like giving you the second bite to the cherry. And you know, letter of management has raised these issues before, so it would have been easier to come up with this receiver of revenue of this financial year of 2021-2022. So, Chair, I think we made a ruling in Kisumu when they appeared. For ease and convenience of time, we can proceed with the year that is complete. And then at the committee can retreat and give direction further, so that we ensure we can hit the ground running.
Thank you. Senator Dulo.
Chair, thank you very much. But just a small clarification, when the governor says 7 days, so does it mean it's going to appear before the Senate in 7 days, or is just submission of the report?
Governor, do you want us to set a date 7 days from today for consideration of the receipt of revenue report?
Chair, just to indicate that one of the issues we are dealing with in that particular report is records from NHIF. As you said, it's just about receipt. So the NHIF, we have had issues, getting that full documentation, and we can be sure we would be complete within 7 days. So any advice, any directions from the committee after 7 days, we would be available, and we should be done with this.
Senator Dulo?
I think, as my colleagues have said, of course, the receiver of revenue report is very critical, in as much as the rest are equally important. But I think the bulk of the money that is normally sent to the county, that is what accounts for the allocation. And if that is out, then it means that the report is not complete, or even the response is not complete. So it's really very critical, and I think in future, Chair, we must make a decision on how we should proceed if counties fail to provide a receiver of revenue report. But now that the Nandi County is here, we should actually utilize the time available, because sending them back will mean we'll have another 1 year backlog for Nandi County. But I think we must send a warning to the governors that it's really unacceptable. Receiver of revenue report is #1, and I think it should be submitted within the required time by the Senate. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Senators. Is Mr. Nicholas Biwott present? Your county receiver of revenue?
No, it's not here.
Is he still in office?
Yes.
But why would he not come for a meeting where his report is to be discussed? Because I know you are the governor, the CEO, but section 165 of the PFM gives a specific requirement on the receiver of revenue. You are paying this guy a salary, isn't it?
Yes.
On average, how much is the receiver of revenue being paid per month? On average, do you have anyone from HR here?
County Secretary is not there.
A receiver of revenue is at the level of a director.
Yes.
So what's the average? Don't give me the specific, but on average, how much is it being paid?
It's around 100, around between 115 to 120,000.
150. So
115.
115, 120. Governor, I want you to, when you go back and you're having a word with Nicholas Biwott, let him read out this particular page on statement of receiver of revenue's responsibilities. You are paying him 120,000 to do a job. He's not doing that job. And that is why you have an adverse opinion on the receiver of revenue statement. It makes Governor Sang sound like a thief. But it's just because someone is not doing what they are employed to do. And we have made a decision as a Senate that we are not just going to assign culpability and blame to the CEO. We are going to name the officers who have got a mandate. Chief of Revenue, the head of reporting, accounting, who is supposed to be a member of the institute. Has given the receiver of revenue the responsibility for presentation of the receiver of revenue account and to give a true and fair picture of the state of affairs for that financial year. And it's a full page where the receiver of revenue undertakes and signs that they are of the opinion that the account gives true and fair view of the state of entities receiver of revenue transactions, further confirms the completeness of the accounting records maintained, and further confirms that the entity has complied fully with applicable government regulations. I think, Governor, it's easy to reprimand you as a CEO, but I think this reprimand must go directly to the person with the statutory responsibility. Ideally, you would not have accepted to proceed when only half the reports have been filed, but let's deal with, I want to agree with my colleagues that we can deal with 2020-2021, because in that year, reporting for on-source revenue was included in the main financial statements. So with that, members,
Chair, on the receiver of revenue getting advance report, I think in private sector, when you get advance report, you are supposed to be fined. Yeah, that is it, as simple as that, but it looks like in Nandi you are rewarded. So anyway, let's have conversation and see how it looks like. Thank you.
I think that's, because I see an ISPAC number that assigned to the receiver of revenue, ISPAC number 15598. And clerks, this officer must be part of those officers we are recommending to the Institute of Certified Public Accountants for disciplinary action. No member of the institute should sit comfortable with an adverse opinion or a disclaimer. That is only tolerated in government, but the Senate is not going to allow it. So please add Mr. Nicholas Biwott to the list of officers who need to be sanctioned and who need to be dealt with professionally. And Governor, you must also take certain administrative action on the officers. So if that is a consensus, then we will start with the report for the year ended 30th of June 2021. Auditor General, what was your opinion?
Thank you, Chair. A report of the Auditor General on the County Executive of Nandi for the year ended 30th June 2021. The opinion was a qualified opinion.
And if we go to the basis of the opinion, we will take an efficient approach to be able to address most of the issues that are before us. There were 26 issues that were raised by the Auditor General. How many of them have been resolved?
We've said 7 issues have been resolved, 17 not resolved, and 7 partially addressed.
That does not add up to 26.
31.
The what?
26 is for 2020, 21, 22. 26 issues are for the financial year 2021, 2022, and the 31 issues are for the financial year 2020, 2021.
So out of 31, you said how many resolved?
Actually, 31.
7? 2020, 2021.
Yes, we have said 7 have been resolved, 17 not resolved, and 7 partially addressed or partially resolved.
So we will focus more on the partial and unresolved issues, and where an issue has been resolved, we will take note, and if the committee is satisfied, we will take the written responses. We've starting with the basis for qualified opinion. Even though PBO, in your brief, you are given a history, a chronology of opinions in Nandi County. And I saw that the county had disclaimer opinions for 4 financial years.
Yes.
Could you just make sure that that goes on record? Just let us know which financial years was one.
Chair, for since the onset of revision from 2013 to 2016-17, we had a discrete opinion. From 2017-18 to 2022-2023, they had a qualified opinion.
Be a bit slow. So from 2013
to 2016-17 financial year
to 2016.
Yes.
That's 4 years.
Yes.
Yes. Then from 2016-17.
2017-18 to 2022-2023.
They had qualified.
Qualified.
Okay. So the adverse opinion is coming up in the receipt of revenue in 2021-2022. The adverse opinion is only on the receipt of revenue statements.
The receipt of revenue. Yeah, the report of the receipt of revenue.
Fine. So let's go to the basis of the opinion, of the qualified opinion. The first issue is presentation accuracy and completeness of the financial statements. Now, Governor, on this matter, initially I was of the view that this is a matter of professionals to be held to account. But when we went into the detailed issues, we realized that there's a risk of financial loss. Now, starting with the, when you see presentation accuracy and completeness, you first ask yourself, who signed the financial statements? In your case, who signed the financial statements, Governor? Who are the signatories?
The chief officer
called
Meshach Malakwen.
Is Mr. Malakwen present?
No, that is no longer the chief officer.
But he's still in the county?
No.
He left the county?
He left the county.
Who was the other signatory?
Director Finance.
By the name?
Helen Kemboy.
Is Helen present?
But she is not present.
Is she still in the county?
Yes.
In what role?
As still Director of Finance.
So why wouldn't Helen be present here to discuss a report which she signed as a professional?
She is unwell.
Point of order, Chair. You are saying Helen Kemboy is acting Director of Finance?
Yeah, she was acting Director of Finance.
Then? But it is not indicated in the financial statements. So what is Helen Kemboy's position as of now? Through the
Director of Finance.
Finance?
Yeah.
But she found it wise not to come and discuss her report. Chair, this is serious.
So out of the persons with who had direct fiduciary responsibility for that financial year, how many of them are present? And the finance officers must ensure that you have a copy of the financial statement, because that's where I'm drawing my questions from. And it is that financial statement that the Auditor General gave an opinion on. So we are not fishing. We are looking at what had been put before the Auditor General.
Point of order, Chair. As the governor consoles, this governor knows very well these are house of records and procedures. Chair, even you are aware when you are supposed to be on plenary and you have traveled outside the country, you must get the permission of the Speaker. So let's assume Helen Kemboy, which I doubt that she is unwell, could the governor table statements from the doctor to confirm that Helen Kemboy is unwell? Because if we are not careful, we will set a dangerous precedent where somebody walks into this committee and says, I'm unwell, and they will quote the decision of this Senate Public Accounts Committee by saying by word of mouth, the witness, who is very critical in terms of presentation of financial statements, was supposed to be here. So, Chair, I request that you direct the governor to give us evidence of medical records or from doctor, and then we can rest easy, because the money that goes to Nandi belongs to the people of Nandi because they pay taxation, just like any other Kenyan. So we should always be prudent in terms of accountability and transparency. So I request your indulgence, Chair, let the governor produce the medical records or doctor notes. Number two, if they cannot produce, then both the governor and the director of finance must be sanctioned by the committee on that aspect. Because I thought the county would be grateful that we have agreed to proceed with a halfway of the financial years that we had discussed we should proceed. We have been fair by saying, since they have traveled and used government money, let us make prudent use of resources that they have used. But now, if they want again to sabotage the work of the committee, then it will be a very unfair, Chair. So can they table the medical record so that we can put that matter to rest?
Governor, remembering that you're on oath, how much are you able to provide just a doctor's note, perhaps if not immediately? How much time will it take you to provide that? Because you need to confirm that the reason for their non-attendance here is not out of malice or contempt for the Senate.
Chair, we can, we do not have the document now, but we are just writing and just inquiring from her to get that information right away.
Yeah, because we were concerned that Nicholas Liwot, who's your receiver of revenue and whose report we were supposed to discuss today, is not here. And Helen Kemboi, who's the director of finance and who is a signatory to these financial statements, is not here. Now let's look at the other officers who are direct fiduciary responsibility. CPA Alfred Lagat, who was a CCM Finance and Economic Planning. Is he still in that role?
No.
Is he still in the county?
Yes.
In what role?
CEC Trade.
Is he part of this delegation?
No.
Didn't you think it would have been fit for him to be present to discuss financial statements on the year when he was a CEC Finance?
Well, Chair, we thought that the current CEC Finance would be able to handle it.
Who's the current CEC Finance?
It's me, Chair.
Mr.
Hilary Serem.
Hilary Serem. Do we have, so Mr. Meshach Malakwen, you've said is no longer the chief officer finance. Meshach Malakwen in these reports is indicated as Bachelor of Science in Agriculture and an MBA. I know the law does not strictly require one to be a CPA to be chief officer finance, but did Meshach have any finance background or experience? Any public finance background or experience?
He had worked as a manager, in the tea estate, but not really strongly financed.
Was he plucking tea or was blending tea?
He was the manager. He was a manager in the tea estate.
Kiborbok or was it Kiborbok?
No, Eastern Produce.
Not the Kiborbok that is in this report. No. Okay, we will demonstrate to you why we are asking these questions. So Helen Kemboi, Director of Finance, is not here. CPA Priska Jepchirchir, who was Head of Budget and Economic Planning. Is she here?
Yes, she is. She is now the current Chief Officer.
She's now the Chief Officer? Finance.
Yes.
Who is Priska?
Myself, Chair.
So the reason why I've asked these questions is if you have, in terms of fiduciary management, 1, 2, 3 CPAs and 1 T placker, why then would the Auditor General raise an audit query on presentation and accuracy and completeness of the financial statements? And it appears that it's only Jessica Priska who's present. She's the only CPA who had fiduciary responsibility that year. What does it mean when the auditor queries the presentation and accuracy of your financial statements? Governor, again, we are not fishing. You remember we already said Nicholas Biwot must be referred to the professional body. If it was an errant advocate, we would have done the same thing. Now I want to establish whether the other CPAs should follow suit. So what does it mean when the accuracy, completeness and presentation of the financial statements are queried? And Governor, we are saying that on the backdrop that the issues here have not been resolved. The Auditor General has said that they still remain outstanding. Why should we have those professionals in office if they are not doing what they've sworn to do professionally? Maybe we hear from her because she's one of those cited here. Then we'll get your view as a CEO. Prescribe.
Who is the chair? Who is the CAC Finance? I think that is the person who should carry the bigger responsibility.
Unfortunately, we don't know whether he's a member of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants. Are you?
I'm not.
What is your background?
I have a bachelor in business management accounting. And I'm also finalizing my CPS.
And what is your professional experience background? Have you been plucking tea as well?
No. I'm a banker. I've worked in the bank. And Senator is also indicating that I have.
Your Order, just address the chair. What were you doing in the bank?
I was doing credit management, relationship management and policy.
So since you're not a member of the Institute, you might not be able to talk about the professional responsibility. I think the only, in this front row, is there any other CPA beside Priska? No, talking about the front row. So Priska, you're the Chief Officer Finance. The Auditor General has said that your financial statements are inaccurate and are incomplete and they are poorly presented. Why should you continue holding your CPA number? Why shouldn't you be struck off? You are listed in the earlier pages as one of those who held direct fiduciary responsibility. Please say something before we write to ISPAC.
Thank you, Chair. As well put, I was the Director Budget then in the county government of Nandi. When the financial statements are not complete or inaccurate, it may not present a fair view of the financial records. And this is attributed to various factors, which I believe we'll be able to explain.
What does it say about the professional who presents financial statements in that manner?
There is the responsibility, personal responsibility of the officer presenting the financial statements.
What is that responsibility?
The professional preparing the financial statements should ensure the financial statements present a fair view of the financial performance and records.
Correct.
Of the organization.
The responsibility of a professional is to ensure accuracy and completeness.
Yes.
So when they are deemed to be inaccurate and incomplete, the professional has failed in their responsibility, isn't it?
Partly and partly maybe to the factors contributing to the variances occurring and presenting the way the financial statements are presented.
I have asked that question because the Auditor General has told us that the variances have not been addressed to date. So the financial statements were inaccurate then, they remain inaccurate now. Because if you had closed the gaps, then you would have said that the professionals under the leadership of the CEO have now done the right thing and the financial statements are accurate and complete. So Governor, the financial statements for that year still remain inaccurate and incomplete, despite the qualified opinion. It is the kind of situation that gives rise to the conclusion that the 6.9 billion sent to Nandi County cannot be accounted for. Senator Gulu?
Yes, Chair. In as much as, maybe first I want to know for how long this has been in that position.
I've been the Chief Officer of Finance for 1 year.
1 year?
Yes.
So, Chair, I would want to find out who was responsible for actually responding to these queries. because according to the brief given by the Auditor General, I think there were only 7 queries that were responded to. 17 are still outstanding, which clearly that responsibility falls on the CEC Finance, if I'm not wrong. And the statement that has just been asked falls within the 17. What do you have to say about that? Because you are the CEC Finance, you are the one in charge of finance, you have 31 issues and you have responded only to 7 out of 31. What do you have to say?
And maybe to tie it up, if you allow me, Honorable Chair, the CC Finance Hillary is your name. Now that, just as Senator Ruto is saying, 17 issues remain outstanding, and the CC who was in charge at that time is still your colleague. So do you have a confidence that you can stand in for him and answer questions, because I mean, all these questions will be coming to you.
Okay. So that the answer also to number 1. 2 is that the Public Finance Management Act is very clear. It talks about responsibility of accounting officer. So 1, CPA Priska Chepchirchir was part of judiciary management. It does not say the responsibility of a specific officer, but accounting officer. So, Chair, when the reading of Article Section 148, 196 of the Public Finance Management Act, it gives responsibilities of accounting officer and the consequences of non-compliance. So, all these people who are supposed to have judiciary management must be held accountable for. Chair, my thinking is, it is not coincidence that Ellen Kemboy, and Governor will confirm this, Meshach Malakwen and Alfred Lagat are strategically absent. Because maybe Governor thought if they were here, they could reveal too much than what he thought it should be revealed. So it cannot be coincidence, and even be what that we have referred the receiver of revenue. So the question is, for example, somebody like Alfred Lagat and Kemboy and Biwott are people who could have appeared alongside Governor and answer questions. So you can see there is a trend that they want to establish, and until Chief Officer, in as much as Priska is now the CEO of Finance, she was then part of the people who prepared the financial statement, and she had said if they are not complete, she agrees with us that it is professional negligence, Chair. So I don't think we need to make a lot of to hang around this issue. This officer should be referred to the relevant bodies and relevant action. Even as we refer, Chair, you must also direct the Governor to take administrative action against this officer. And you know, for Ellen Kemboy, the Governor has explained she is sick. The Governor has not told us why Lagat is not here, despite being within the county, serving within county. And of course, Malakwen says she has left, and also Biwott. So on these two people, Lagat and Biwott, Chair, no one has told us why they are absent. Maybe they are absent to hide something. Maybe the Governor can answer that. But on the responsibility of accounting officers or Public Finance Management Act, the consequences are very clear.
I think to bring this to, so that we can, this conversation is going to help us to deal with all these issues from 1.11 all the way to 1.13. So do not be worried. We are not veering off the issues. We need to know where to assign responsibility. CEC Finance, you've been asked whether you are able to carry the cross. Can you respond?
Yes, thank you, Chair. There were 2 issues directed to me. One is the one you just mentioned, and the other one is as to why these issues are still outstanding. Chair, I will respond by saying, when we gave the responses, we gave out of good faith, and we are not yet aware, based on how the auditors have reviewed, as to which ones as in
Did you have a meeting with the auditor prior to coming to the Senate? Did you as CC Finance have any meeting with the Office of the Auditor General before today?
Yes, when we submitted the documents.
Or auditor, did you have any meeting with the client to tell them, you know, fine, you have submitted this, but it does not close the matter?
Yes, we had a meeting to verify the documents. Apparently they were coming in bits, so you might not know. The final brief here, we've worked on it up to very late. So
was the CC part of that meeting?
No.
So CC, what are you saying? Why can't, remember the statement of management responsibility is signed by the CCM Finance. So how can you come into a meeting where you have not been part of the preparation? Was the governor part of the meeting?
Let me make a clarification. I've just said, upon presentation of the audit evidence, we had a meeting for verification of the documents. And at that point, initially, the CC was present. Initially, the CC.
But at the end, so he does not know whether you have you concur on issues that are before us.
So at the end, because the documents were coming, with some of the documents we received late, so he might not know our.
I mean, auditor, just before you say whether he might not know or not, I got it in your statement that you said that you concluded this process a little too late. So you hope that it was not possible to hold a meeting.
Late does not mean yesterday, because the response came on 6.
I mean, it is you who know when late was, yes. So that's why I'm asking.
Because the initial stages of the conclusion, he was not there.
Okay.
That's untidy, Governor, because if your CC Finance is not on the same page with the Auditor General, then you are going to have a lot of back and forth. Ultimately, the PFM Act gives him a lot of powers, and that's why he signed the statement of management responsibility. So CC, are you aware of the 17 issues that the Auditor General has?
So now, Chair, I'm not aware. So that is why you say if they...
So then you shouldn't have come. It's the other CC who signed these financial statements who should have come. Governor, do you have a team that is going to support you? You see, at the end of the day, this jurisprudence was written when you were a senator, and we insisted that governors or CEOs must appear. Back then, governors argued that, but they are not the technicians. But we insisted that the CEO role is constitutional. But to help, to make your life easy, come with the technicians, so that even when we are pronouncing ourselves, we are not nailing you on things that should be done by other officers.
Maybe, or the answers before we go to letters of credit, by the cooperative bank that was been issued then.
Yeah, Governor, I don't know whether you are familiar with the documents that you have brought to the Senate.
Yes,
because some of the questions we are asking, if you peruse through the annexures, they are there. So it will make your life easy just to point us to the annexure and then use that as a basis for discussion.
And finally, Chair, so that we tell about, by the time this project is open and functional, so we have seen from the Kapsabet newborn units, the hospital has moved from 374.9 to 511. Or this, because you had said in the flagship project were around 400 million. What was the initial, because I'm trying to look at the contract, Governor, that you have supplied of Milky Development Company, and you did put the total sum of the entire project in this. And I can see you're only using US dollars, but on the total sum of the project and the debt through you, Chair, if you look at the contract document, maybe, Governor, you can see which clause that gives us, by the time you were signing, how much was the contract at the inception, was how much. Then now you can check as if there is extension and variation of similar amount. So, Chair, if the Governor, and then finally, who funds it? Is it funded purely from the budget because I can see another document, Chair, the phase 2 of the proposed. This was signed in 7th February 2020. Governor and through the chair, that was 67 million. That was on phase 2, but I'm not seeing the amount of phase 1. Or is it this one? The contract price was 289,200 and 300. That is 289, 233 US dollars. There was another one of 712, 361 US dollars. There was another one 054 US dollars. And Governor, you have mixed everything, equipment, the contract, phase 1 and phase 2. So my question, so that it becomes easy for you, by the time the creameries is functional to be used by farmers of Nandi, how much would have cost? And is there proof here? Number 1. Number 2, who funds it? Is it through the money that is provided by the budget only, or there are conditional grants and you get? And finally, what was the timeline before givers extension? Was it the 2 years? Was it under 1 financial year before you did the extension? Thank you, Chair.
No, Governor, we are limited in time, so I see you've got your Annex 10. Is that what you'd like us to refer to?
Yes.
Okay. Very, very quickly, just address the question raised by the Senator, and if that information is on a page, point to it.